they are trying to change our DNA, to make us hybrids, but in the wrong way. So it's very interesting when we see this exactly. One way is opening every possibilities for us, developing what we can do, and we are really helped in that. We can get a lot of support, we can feel it, experience it. And just on the other side, they are trying to close these doors and to insert things inside ourselves to make us hybrids, but not in the way we want it to be. So it's really fascinating when you can see that factually. It's a fact. It is like that.
Yes, it's very much perspective and perception in the reality you want to create. And what I have seen is the list of COVID symptoms is 90% exactly like the list of ascension symptoms that people are experiencing who are not ill, who know that the light codes are transforming their DNA and their genetics, and they're modifying and they're becoming better, healed, incredible versions of themselves. It's perspective and perception. So either you die of COVID or you ascend. And I'm sure there's a C, D, and E as well.
No symptoms.
That's very cruel, but nature can be very cruel, right?
Well, I mean, how else are you supposed to support free will?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
For that to James, did you want to say something? I'm supposed to chair the meeting, give James a chance to talk to. She was the one that brought us all together here.
He was the one. Actually, thank you. Clapping to you too. She was actually referring to transhumanism, meaning that the RNA vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna supposedly have nanoparticles in it that change people's DNA or reconstruct it.
Is the idea they don't
really comment on the validity of that yet. What's that?
I look.
It doesn't say human fetus, but if you look up the chemical breakdown translation, it is human fetus that you're ingesting as like the main, the glue that holds all the other mechanisms together in it is fetus. And then the Pfizer one suggests that you do not have sex for 28 days because there will be damage to the fetus, and then as well as the genetic modifications. So I'm not touching it.
8 days?
Who are you gonna have sex with, other men?
No, meaning that.
Well,
anyway.
I'm just saying there's a 28-day procreation warning on there.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Well,
yeah, I really don't want to continue talking about COVID. If I mean, I came here to escape that BS.
Oh, sure. What do you think? What's your thoughts on David Icke, if I may ask?
I think he does very thorough research, but there's a lot of fear in there that definitely colors his experience, and it doesn't mean that they're not authentically his. I just don't want to share in them.
I actually kind of agree with you on that.
I think he's a beautiful, brilliant man. And in 2006, I sat there and had my mind completely blown by the horror show that was behind the scene. But again, if I'm creating my own reality, I'm not creating a reality that has that in it. So I think his work is valuable for people who are completely oblivious and just now starting to what we refer to as wake up, that there is more to life than this little matrix or reality. But after that, I think it's a Debbie Downer, and you shouldn't lower your vibration over it.
I'm also surprised that the so-called right wings, QAnon or Proud Boys and all that, or even Alex Jones and David Icke and all them, they haven't really come up with a real viable solution to the whole entire problem. In other words, they can talk about the problem they pointed out, and they're obsessed with the problem for that matter, but they don't really come up with the real viable, what's the step-by-step program to better our society.
I would agree with you on that, James. People say, I'm on the right. I've been interviewing people on my Brian Roosh show since 2015. And I would say all of my guests provide no solution. The best solution I've seen is the idea, like Jeff has proposed, that we're going to be hybrids in the future. There'll be a federation of planets, and that the Greys are the front for this federation. In a sense, they've already brought us into the federation. We just don't know it yet. But I feel that Ike and Alex shows and everyone, I think it is not humanly possible to topple the Rothschilds, the city of London, whoever you want to. It's just not possible. We're not doing it. We're failing. So the hope I have is in ufology and aliens. That's my view on the right.
Yeah, and again, that's the people that you left on this, that we're leaving behind on the surface, so to speak. This is an analogy, but it's also possibly very realistic. While we either go inside ourselves and tune all that nonsense and disinformation out, or we get ascended or sucked up in our spaceships, or reunited with our galactic families, or maybe we phase into the new Earth. Like, there's all these potentials that are absolutely possible. But listening to anyone argue for limitations, saying you can't get around it, you can't do better, is an automatic red flag.
I agree with you there. Definitely. But one thing what's that?
No, that kind of makes sense. I'm just saying, no one seems to be able to topple the corruption. You know, the elite powers control pretty much every government on the planet. No one really has a plan. People on this line I always hear is more people are waking up. You know, it used to be 10% of the population awake. Now it's 15%, or it's 18.5%. But it's still not enough. Like more than 50% of the American population knows 9/11 was an inside job. It doesn't make any difference. So I would say not enough people have woken up to make any political difference, and I think it's politically not going to work. So we need something else. That's my view. But the idea of developing yourself and meditation going within sounds like a good route to go.
Yeah. And that's, again, you know, that fork in the road, or the perception or the perspective. Are you dying or are you ascending? So there was a lot of people in the pandemic that have been restricted to their home environments, and they haven't had to deal with the corruption out there unless they're just addicted to TV and commercials. And so this year has been an incredible time for us who were ready to turn in and become more. It's given us that window of opportunity to do so without all the clutter. And so it's the conundrum. It's a blessing as well as I don't want to say curse, but the crap shoot, as well as the amazing opportunity for us to evolve if we're ready.
One of the amazing things that I think happened because of isolation is that a lot of people started to wake up anyway, because they were with themselves. Mm-hmm. They stopped. Like, I remember when there was first the regulations in Vancouver, when it changed, and then people started saying, "Oh, I can hear the birds now." You know, and the environment started to change within a very short time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Within 2 months, there were dolphins swimming in the Italian Canal that they haven't seen for hundreds of years.
But so, because the environment went back like that, so did people.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us returned to ourselves more.
Yes.
Right? A lot of us became more aware of ourselves, and therefore maybe splitting from the matrix a little bit.
Yeah.
So totally. I think that there's been a lot of awakening because of COVID.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It depends on your perspective.
People realizing that the world they lived in, kind of like the guy in the Matrix, when he realizes the world that you were living in is not real, right? And I think that COVID has brought that idea to people in a very flesh and blood sense. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, well, my doctor used to be able to tell me about teas, and now, you know, they're restricted, or this information is restricted, or they strike you down, they strike you dead, you know, from YouTube if you say the wrong thing.
Yep.
You know, and especially with medicine, that's one of the things that's woken people up. Yeah. Is because we're used to our doctors being nice, and we're used to being able to to trust our doctors,
Yeah.
or at least to want to try to find people that we trust.
Yeah.
In our doctors, right? Sometimes we have to try this one and try that one, maybe have a naturopathic doctor and another doctor. Whatever the thing is, we do, they have our health in their hands, really.
Yeah,
So
I
you want to
think that-
trust them.
I
But
think-
in this situation, they're not allowed to speak. So all our trusted people are not allowed to help us. If you go to a hospital and you have COVID, they turned you away. Like in the beginning, you know, they just told you to go home and they turned you away. So all the things that we count on medically was just the, you know, the carpet was slipped from under us in a medical way, I think.
Yeah. I think
No.
that very much the reason our government has been, because we have proof of Eisenhower, you know, there's a paper trail of Eisenhower dealing with ETs, and so this has been dated back for a very long time. And I 100% think that it's not because the world isn't ready to meet other beings. We see different species walking around every time we see another race. And we're intermingled about 80% planetarily speaking anyway. So it's the fact that they have used our health. The pharmaceutical should not be an industry. The United States of America is 4.5% of the global population, yet we use 60% of the world's pharmaceuticals.
Yikes.
Wow.
You
Wow.
can look that up. We have
We're
been
really
lied.
unhealthy, eh? We're very unhealthy.
Well, we've been lied to, and we bought into it.
Mhm.
We were like the smarty pants over in Europe, you know, a couple thousand years ago, Constantinian, this day on or forward, was like, ooh, we'll go to the new world and we'll see how many puppets will listen to our made up rules. And it freaking spread around the world. That's why the United States is so different from everyone else. And, you know, the UK is, England specifically more than Scotland, is following suit somewhat, but it is ridiculous who you call sheep or sleepers that America has. And I think it was given to us through horrible fast foods and pharmacology. And, you know, our health should have been fruits and vegetables. And instead we have McDonald's in the cafeteria at the hospital. Like, really?
Well, I think that's why people have woken up. Because, you know, we sense the danger of where we're at.
Yeah.
Whether people want to think that they're going to be killed by the virus, or whether they think, you know, that it's being done to them, it doesn't really matter. The point is the fear.
There you don't.
I felt.
There you.
Us decriminalized all drugs, so there's no more incarceration, you know, not for mass amounts, but anybody caught with it, it's a $100 fine or the option to get help. The United States is starting to implement magic mushrooms into psychotherapy, you know, the LSD situation, MDMA, it's all starting to come back online. And that is what I've been talking about, the perception, because we have the sheep and we also have the front runners that are like, you know what, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it until it freaking breaks and it can be done. And it's starting to be done. We are changing the show.
But it's only to show you that
Yay.
actually it's a plan. It's not an idea.
Oh, I know. That's all I refer to it as well. I mean, the Rothschilds had a patent in 2016. Tell me it's not a plan, but that's all I want to say on the subject. So what we have in the truther community have referred to this whole thing is a soft genocide.
Wow.
You know?
If I could just make a plug, I got about 723 videos about what Greer is talking about since March the 13th, 2013 on the Brian Root channel with 2,600 videos on BitChute. So yeah, I'm one of the key figures in Canada in the truther community. I actually claim my channel has the highest standard of truth in Canada based upon 4 things on my website at brianroot.ca. Hit the home button. It's not all related to UFOs, but UFOs is #1 top of the list. The truth about aliens.
You've
But it
changed.
doesn't exist.
I've
UFOs, you're
Mimi
right.
knows me
My-
since 2011.
exist.
Mimi knows me. Woo!
Not UFOs, I exaggerate. He didn't say that. No, he said there were no ETs. Well,
So have any of you had like way more frequent fantastical experiences over the last 6 months?
The thing that you said about developing psychic things, that has been happening to me.
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed that all those sort of, not superpowers, but psychic powers are coming back
Yeah.
like they were there when I was young, and then they went away for a number of years.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of like alert again,
Oh yeah.
you know?
last
So,
week- back
weekend,
online.
The
Huh?
weekend online learning how to see without my eyes. I told you that. So we had this this training, and it was great, and it works.
Mm,
Well,
To teach you to see without glasses, or what were you referring to?
without your eyes, with a
Oh, yeah.
mask.
Absolutely.
I was very interested in that because I had taken such a course with some ETs in '75. So when I heard that they were teaching that now, I wanted to compare. It was not exactly the same technique, but it was the same results. So it's really very, very interesting. Well, it was just the beginning of it, but even trying one time, it
I'm gonna
works. You
ask
can
her
see
about it
something.
in 2 weeks.
Well, what did you say?
I said, I'm gonna ask you about this in 2 weeks. This is gonna be one of the
that was
questions.
so interesting. You know, because and you feel your brain's working differently. Well, the day after that, I had my brain frizzling, well, all over because of what we tried to see without the eyes and to tell it, you can do it. And of course, yes, it's possible. So that's very funny. It's interesting. Something about the COVID, oh, that's an experience. So we were at the beginning of all that stuff, and I had a very weird dream. Okay, I take care of my dreams because I know that it's very important always. And in that dream, I was going with my car to a meeting, a hidden meeting, forbidden meeting of doctors in the woods. And I did, in my dream, I said, why? Well, I knew I was going there. On the street, on the road, suddenly I saw police lights, and so further I said, oh, okay. I just stopped my car and decided to go walking. It was not so far. So I walked through the fields and I found the meeting, and we were about 200. And it's very interesting for what followed. And we were talking of the situation, and somebody said we have to take again the Hippocrates oath. How do you pronounce
Wow.
that? And we did it, and it was so moving. I can tell you that I woke up crying because we did it so. It was something very profound. And when I woke up, I said, why? Why on earth did I have such a dream? And it's only 5 months later, we were 200 to create the first movement and to say we have to obey the Hippocratic oath. So that was something very interesting for me because I knew that I was guided to that. So obviously it was, well, it was made to be. So I think
Any
you know, it
real
gives
doctor,
power
I
to it.
think, would eventually turn to that. Any real doctor, anyone
Yes,
who really
yeah.
has passion
Yeah.
for it.
And
Yeah.
we were 200 and it's forbidden, and now we are 30,000, more than 30,000 doctors, official doctors, not naturopathic doctors, though I am. So that gives hope, you know, when you see it's on the way, it's working. So we go on.
Yeah. We will get
And
there.
it's
We
for
will prevail.
Yes, it's for everything else too.